Well, you know, this rally in the grain markets is just pretty darn impressive here on the second trading day of 2022. And let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. On the corn market, for example, on the March contract, these quotes provided by bar charts show it trading at 606 and a quarter, only 2 ticks from our high of the day. And how about being 17 cents higher on the day right now? Boy, they are really getting with the program. The nearbys are leading the charge higher, and usually that is also a bullish indicator as well. Well, on the soybean trade today, we now have the March contract at 13.81 and 3/4. That would be 26 and a quarter higher, and we are now less than 2 cents from our high of the day. Well, can the wheat market keep up? You know, it's been getting pounded on here for a couple of weeks. Well, it's sure trying. We have Chicago wheat on the March now 10 higher at 768. That would be off of its earlier low this morning by roughly about 12 cents. In the Kansas City market, we currently have March trading 10 cents higher. We're at 801 and a half. And we have July 9.5 cents higher, by the way. Spring wheat trade, Minneapolis, March is 2 higher at 969 and 3/4, while July is unchanged. And that cotton market has just been on fire this morning. March still over 300 points higher. Now it's up 305 at 116.28 per pound. And even that, believe it or not, is about 140 points off of its earlier high. So looks like it has been trolling around limit up moves here today. Well, let's bring in Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions and talk about these markets. My goodness, Brian, all kinds of enthusiasm on the bullish side here today. From what I understand, I don't know if a lot of people saw this type of market activity coming today. What's driving it?
Yeah, good morning again, Marlon. You know, weather is the main driving force here in our grain markets. Corn and soybeans right now getting a lift from weather in South America, which drier than desired, especially in Argentina. There's crop analysts looking at these Brazil's soybean and corn crops as well as Argentina's and lowering production estimates. So we have not seen much in the way of export business, but that's probably the next thing to come to the United States is if there is significant crop problems in Argentina and Brazil, we'll see better export business, and that would really add some fuel to these markets. But we're showing big gains today, a lot of buy stops being triggered in both corn and soybeans. And for the wheat market, you know, the winter wheat ratings on a state-by-state basis dropped sharply in Kansas and Oklahoma. Now, they did show a little bit of improvement in North Dakota, South Dakota, but these are not USDA ratings, but rather state-by-state ratings. And compared to where we went into dormancy at, there was a big drop, and that's really fueled some gains in our winter wheat contracts.
So we've got the March and July KC wheat within about 3 cents of each other now. That trend almost non-existent at this point.
Yeah, you know, it's something we've talked about before in some of these other markets. Corn is very close to inverting. You've seen this in hard red wheat where it's very close. The hard red spring wheat of Minneapolis, most of the fall it was inverted like that. Soybean meal, we've seen huge gains in that market through the winter months. And that market was another one that was inverted. And when it becomes inverted, that's a real bullish sign, real bullish scenario. And corn has not done it yet, but it's getting close to doing it. And if it in fact does, that could be a real catalyst for this market as well.
You mentioned soybean meal, and in fact, this morning earlier, it was lower on the day, and it has flipped around now. The March contract is now $1.20 higher per ton at $412.50. So interesting information there as well. All right, Brian, we'll come back and we'll talk about the cattle and hog market activity here on a Tuesday right after this. We're talking with Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions. Now, here's another market to check out. Let's check out the energy trade today. If you're looking for big moves, this has had a wild move today as well. We have the February crude oil now resting at 76.75. There for a while, it was sharply higher. It got as high as 77.64 and now backed off of that nearly $1 already off of that high, but we're still 70 cents higher on the day. This crude oil market has been kind of crazy lately. In the U.S. dollar index, well, we're pretty flat. March just down 36 points. We're still above 96 at 96.175 here so far today. On the equity markets, you have the Dow Jones Industrial Average. March futures now up 239 points. We're at 36,694. We had been as high as 36,804 there earlier this morning as it had surged ahead. Live cattle really taking it on the chin today. We have the February down $1.67 now at 137.25. April down $1.72. Big time losses going on, especially in the feeder cattle market today. Wow, March down $3.47. We're at 166.05 after a high of 168.50. Wow, that's a big turnaround. And we had been as low as 165.60 there, by the way. We're off of that by about 40 cents, but still over $3.50 lower. Lean hogs, February, now up 62 cents at 81.75. April gaining $1.12. We're at 87.77 right now, within 20 cents of our high of the day. So they're going the other direction. So, Brian, a little divergence between the cattle and hog markets here today. I assume that is probably related to the rally in the corn on the cattle. Just real quickly, anything else driving that today?
Yeah, you look at the cattle market, it gapped lower in both the live and the feeders this morning. We talked yesterday about hedging some of the feeder cattle, and I think there was some good opportunities for both the live and feeders. But first couple of weeks of this month, it's going to be tough for the cash markets in the cattle. They have a lot of captive supplies to work through. Show list numbers are a little bit larger. So it's going to be a struggle until we get near the end of the month and supplies tighten up once again before we can see a lot of strength in these cash markets.
Well, thanks for all the information, Brian. Always great to visit with you. I appreciate it. Very active trading day today. Brian Hoops of Midwest Market Solutions joining us from Springfield, Missouri. Janet, back to you.